Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to take a look at our linear equations and just prepare for our test. So we're going to talk all about y equals mx plus b. We're going to talk about that m is slope, the b is our y-intercept, and we're going to look at our different types of equations. So remember, we have slope-intercept, we have our actual slope formula, we have standard form, and we have point slope. So first, topic number one, we just want to find the slope. So slope, we've been given a graph or an ordered pair. So I'm going to look here at number one. Remember, slope is all about the change in y over the change in x. So I need to find out if I am here and I need to be here, what is my change? How far have I moved? So change in y, that would be a drop. How far did we move down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So down is negative, so -5 over, from here, I went forward 1 space and 2 space. So this would be plus, that's positive. Remember that was dropping, so that's a negative, a positive 2. So I can say that my slope, or my m, equals -5 over 2. We look here at number 2, and we see that we have this flat line. Remember, this is a horizontal, and we use the magic words hoi for a horizontal, meaning horizontal. My slope is, hopefully you said 0, so my slope m equals 0. And my equation, if I was to write it, would look like y equals. So if I was to write this equation, my y here is 1, 2, 3, -3. So if I needed an equation, it would be y equals -3. But really what we're looking for here is they ask us for the slope. So they wanted to know that the m equals 0. Up next, number 3, we have this straight line up and down. Up and down is vertical. So this would be vux. So vertical, my slope is, now u means undefined, and you actually need to write the word undefined. U-N-D-E-F-I-N-E-D, undefined. This is what it's asking us for. But just a reminder, x means that's how my equation would start. So if I was to write the equation, this would be x equals, and I just need to know, where does it cross? Well, right here, which is -1. So if I was to write an equation, it'd be x equals -1. Number 4 here, we're still looking for slope, so we're talking about the change in y over the change in x. So remember, our formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or in this case, that would be -4 minus -1 over my x's, -3 minus -12. Now, -4 minus -1. Remember, this minus a negative means that I just add. So this is like saying -4 plus 1. So that would be -3. -3 minus -12, that's like adding. So -3 plus 12 is 9. Now, slope should always be in simplified form. -3 over 9, they'll both divide by, these will both divide by 3. So that means that we have a slope of -1/3. And number 5 here, -11 and 7 and -11 and -2. Just going to show you another way to look at this. Some students like to write it like this, over top of each other. So my change in x. If I was at 7 and I needed to get into -2, how many spaces and how would I get there? Well, from 7 to -2, I would drop 9 spaces. I would drop 9 spaces. So my change in y would be -9. And then if I'm at -11 and I need to get to -11, I'm not going to move, so that would just be over 0. -9 over 0. This means that my m is going to be, if you try the calculator, it says error, because I can't take something and divide it into nothing. So this is going to be that magical vertical line. So again, this is going to be an defined slope. So that wraps up topic number 1. Let's take a look at topic number 2. So here we're looking at slope-intercept form versus standard form. Now I'm just going to write these up here. Slope-intercept form, that would be y equals mx plus b, versus standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So remember, anything that has slope in it, that's a slope formula. Standard form does not have a slope in it. To be a slope formula, you've got to get it back to y equals mx plus b, or you have to be in point slope form. So number 6 here, write a linear equation with a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of -7. Slope of 1 and a y-intercept of -7. Well, that just means I'm going to take the slope-intercept form, and I'm going to plug that in. I have a slope of 1, well, that's my m, and I have a y-intercept of -7, that's my b, so let's rewrite this. Y equals 1x, putting the 1 exactly where the m is, and minus 7. It's a -7, so subtract 7. Remember, we don't really write the 1x anymore, so we'd actually just say y equals x minus 7. All right, number 7 here. Identify the slope and y-intercept of the equation y equals -3x. Well, identify the slope and the y-intercept. First off, I see that it says y equals. This means that I am in y equals mx plus b form. And I'm going to look, y equals mx plus b. Well, I want to know the slope, so I want to know what m is. So m is, well, it's whatever's attached to the front of x, so m is going to be -3. And it wants to know what b is, and I look over there, b is whatever's added to the end. Well, there's nothing added to the end. Well, nothing's an easy number, that's 0. So my slope is -3, and my y-intercept is 0. All right, number 8. Identify the slope and y-intercept of the equation 2x plus 5y equals 20. Oh, slope and y-intercept. This is standard form. There is no slope or y-intercept here, which means I have to solve for y. So I'm going to solve for y by first moving the x variable. Remember, we do that by subtracting this off. This is a positive, so I'm going to subtract it away. What I do to one side of an equation, hopefully you just said I do to the other. So I've canceled those. I have 5y equals -2x. I'm just going to put the m first and the b after. Now I look, 5y. Y is still not alone. 5 is attached to y by multiplication, so I'm going to undo by division. When we divide equations, what we do to one, we do to all. Everybody gets divided by the 5. So here I have y equals -2/5 x, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. Well, now I'm in y equals mx plus b. So identify the slope. Sure thing. My slope is -2/5. My b, my y-intercept, is +4. So you've got to get them over to slope-intercept form. And that's exactly what number 9 wants you to do. Identify the slope and the y-intercept. So pause this video, and I want you to work it and see if you can find both the m and the b. All right, welcome back. So here we have moved everything away from y. We need to get it into y equals mx plus b. And when we do that, the thing here to be careful with is when you were dividing that -2y, so that -2 divided by -2, this -x, remember it has a magic 1 in front of it. If you don't see it, it's right there, that -1. So I have -1 divided by -2, making a +1/2 for my slope x. 2 divided by -2 is -1. So my slope was 1/2, where my b, or my y-intercept, was -1. So that there is slope-intercept form and standard form. Remember, if you want to talk about the word slope or the number for the y-intercept, you have to go back to y equals mx plus b, no matter what form they give it to you in. So let's see what's up next. Up next, we want to write a linear equation given a graph. Oh, well, linear equations. The easiest way to do that is to get it into y equals mx plus b form. So I look here at number 10, y equals, I need my slope. So remember, we're just going to count these. So we're going to count, this is positive. I'm going to go up and over. So to go up, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So plus 7. And then I'm going to go over. I went forward 2. So I can say, well, my slope, my m, is 7 over 2. Keep the x. And then I need my b. Where did it cross the y-intercept? My y-intercept is right here. So I'm going to look. Well, it crosses right there. And that is at 1, 2, 3. That's negative 3. So minus 3. Pause the video. Try number 11. All right, here on number 11, we are moving down 4 and forward 4. So that is down negative 4 over positive 4, which we have right here. There's our slope, negative 4 over 4. It crosses the y-intercept. The line crosses the y-intercept right here, which was at positive 3, so that's my b. And then we're just going to simplify. Negative 4 over 4 is the same as negative 1x. And then we don't really write the ones anymore. That coefficient does not need to be there, so our final answer would actually be y equals negative x plus 3. Let's just try one more skill in this video. We're going to identify the equation of the line graphed below. So identify the equation. What does that mean? Well, I've got A, B, C, and D. I'm going to look here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out what is this equation in slope-intercept form. So if I was to find the y equals mx plus b for this equation, I would need my slope first. Now, if you notice, they did not tell you where the points were, so you may have to zoom in here. But if I look here, I know that this is here. I can see that there's a pretty point here, and there's also one here. If I look at it, I'm looking, where does it meet the graph really nice and neat? And it's right there. So my slope is down 1, so negative 1, forward 2, so positive 2. So I'd say, well, my slope is negative 1/2. I keep the x, and my b is at, well, the b is where it crosses the y. So 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 4. So this is the equation that I need, which means I'm going to have to check each one of these to figure out which one equals y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. So I want you to go ahead, pause the video, and try that, and come back and see if you get it right. All right, you should have come up with letter C. If I solve for y, I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. So again, here on number 13, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try it on your own. Remember, first of all, you're going to need to find points that are really pretty, points that where you can actually count where you're at. I can tell you right now that here's one, right here on the y-intercept. Look how nice and neat that is. And if I'm going across and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking, here is my next really nice pretty point that's easy to count. So write it in y equals mx plus b, and then see if you can figure out if it's A, B, C, or D. All right, so if we count up and over, this is a positive slope. I know that it's going uphill. I have 5 over 3, so 5/3 x. It crosses the y-intercept down here at negative 1. So y equals 5/3 x minus 1. And if I have to convert each of these, I will find that D converts into y equals 5/3 x minus 1. So that is your first half of your test review for linear equations.